Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in. I want you to take a quick second and think about the absolute very first thing you did this morning. Try to really picture it. I'm talking about the exact moment you woke up, way before you reached over to grab your phone off the nightstand, and definitely before you spoke a single word, before you were even fully consciously awake. You did something highly specific. And the crazy part, you do it almost every single morning without ever actively deciding to. Today, we're decoding an unwritten, ancient piece of biological software, a code you've been running your entire life without ever reading the manual.
So I'll ask you again, what did you actually do first today? Because the real answer is absolutely fascinating, and it's honestly a lot stranger than just some simple daily habit. You see, that very first automatic action of your day isn't a modern routine at all. We love to think our mornings are dictated by our jobs, our coffee makers, or that annoying smartphone alarm. But the script you follow in those first 5 minutes, it was written into your biology long before alarm clocks or modern schedules were even a thing. It is an inherited survival script. And to really understand it, we're going to break down your morning into 3 distinct phases.
Let's start with phase 1, the ancient safety scan, which happens the exact second your eyes open.
Okay, let's dive into this. This phase hits that fleeting, hazy moment before language even kicks in and before you can even remember what day of the week it is. Sleep researchers actually have a term for this specific state. They call it sleep inertia. It's basically that brief window of disorientation right when you wake up. But neuroscientists who study waking cognition have found that this isn't just random morning grogginess. During sleep inertia, your senses are doing something incredibly specific. They are actively scanning. Your brain is rapidly checking the light levels, the sounds, the temperature, and even the familiar smell of your room. It is essentially asking one massive, fundamental question. Where am I, and is it safe here? Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is your brain still vigorously checking for life-threatening danger when you're just lying in a perfectly safe, locked bedroom with a ceiling fan?
Well, notice the stark contrast here between these two environments. Because for almost the entire span of human evolutionary history, waking up in an unsafe environment was a very real, recurring possibility. It wasn't just some hypothetical worry. Anthropologists, like researcher Carol Worthman, who studies the sleep patterns of existing hunter-gatherer societies, have documented something that our modern lifestyle has completely erased. Think about it. Modern sleep is typically solitary. It's in total darkness, enclosed in a quiet room, and we fully expect to be totally unconscious for 8 straight hours. That is actually a brand new, highly unusual arrangement for our species. Our ancestral sleeping arrangements, they were communal. People slept in groups, usually clustered near a fire, with someone always stirring or staying half awake in shifts throughout the entire night. So, the crucial takeaway here is this. Your brain literally evolved for communal, semi-alert sleep. When you go to sleep all alone in a dark, quiet room, you are asking your brain to do something entirely unprecedented every single night to achieve full, deep, unguarded sleep. So that morning grogginess, that sleep inertia we just talked about, it is simply the leftover habit of a cautious mind that still isn't 100% sure it's safe to fully let down its guard. It's making absolutely sure the coast is clear before booting up the rest of the system.
Moving right along to phase 2, the daily body inventory. This happens the moment you start sitting out. The literal instant you sit up, before you even think about breakfast. Most of us perform this small, almost ritualistic check on our own body. You stretch, you let out a big yawn. Maybe you rub your eyes or massage the back of your neck. It feels like absolutely nothing, right? Just a comforting little way to wake up. Actually, scratch that. It is a highly sophisticated physical inventory. Researchers who study something called proprioception, which is your body's internal sense of itself in physical space, describe this morning stretching as an absolutely critical recalibration process. After hours of complete stillness, your nervous system actually briefly loses precise track of exactly where your limbs are and how much force they can produce. So that first big stretch, it's really not about comfort at all. It is a silent, subconscious checklist your body runs through every single morning to ensure the physical machine is still ready to operate. As you stretch, your nervous system is rapid-fire asking, Step 1, am I still intact? Step 2, can I still move the way I need to? And Step 3, are my joints, my muscles, and my balance all still completely online?
Think about the intense evolutionary stakes behind this silent checklist for a second. Evolution built an automatic ritual around this because a human waking up injured and not realizing it immediately could make a fatal mistake within minutes.
Imagine our ancestors stepping wrong on a bad ankle while suddenly needing to flee a threat, or reaching for a branch to escape a predator, only to find out a shoulder had quietly failed overnight. The ancestors who survived were the ones who unconsciously automatically tested their own bodies before trusting them with anything important. They caught the problems before those problems became lethal, and that instinct, it survived completely intact in you. You still stretch, yawn, and test the machine before operating it, even though your biggest morning threat today is probably just, I don't know, a badly timed elevator door.
That brings us to phase 3, resetting the internal sundial, which is all about finding the light. Within the first few minutes of being upright, almost everyone instinctively moves toward a light source. You might open a curtain, step toward a window, or immediately reach over to turn on a bright lamp. But why? Well, chronobiologists who study circadian rhythms have proven that early bright light exposure is literally one of the absolute strongest signals your internal clock uses. Now, what's really interesting about the information on this slide is that this light exposure sets your entire day's hormone release, your alertness curve, and even your overall mood. Your brain isn't just checking the weather when it pulls you toward that window. As this quote perfectly captures, you're not curious about the window, you're synchronizing. You are recalibrating an ancient internal sundial. For 300,000 years, human biology has never once stopped assuming that bright light means the day has truly begun, and the dangers of the darkness have finally ended. It's a biological imperative to seek out that light and lock in your internal clock. So let's wrap this all up in section 4, the survival checklist, putting it all together. When we view these steps cohesively, what looks like a mundane, totally random personal habit is actually a highly orchestrated inherited checklist. Just look at these 3 invisible steps we take every single day. We scan the environment for safety, we test the body for damage, and we find the light to set the clock. None of this was taught to you. You didn't read it in some parenting book growing up. It's certainly not written on your modern to-do list. Yet it runs silently and automatically exactly the way it ran for every human who woke up before you, long before mornings even had alarm clocks. It really shifts your perspective on your own biology, doesn't it? Tomorrow, when your body starts this quiet routine, you'll know what's actually happening. You aren't just groggily waking up. Your mind is still operating as if simply surviving the night was never a guarantee. It's performing a vital safety check, a thorough body inventory, and a precise clock reset, because it genuinely believes that today, like every single day before it in human history, still needs to be earned before anything else can begin. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When you open your eyes tomorrow morning, right before the conscious thoughts of work or emails flood in, which ancient code will you catch yourself running first? Will you notice the safety scan? Will you feel the actual intention behind your morning stretch? Take a moment and observe your own ancestral instincts in action tomorrow. It's an absolutely incredible piece of ancient software running right there in your bedroom. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.